What if I told you, chosen one, that real flattery has nothing to do with glittering words thrown into the air, shining for a second, and then vanishing? What if I told you that the deepest kind of praise is not a costume of charm, but a shelter, a structure built strong enough for a woman's spirit to rest inside it? Once upon a time, flattery was a performance. It borrowed from tomorrow to decorate today. It dressed itself in bright colors and clever lines, but when the moment passed, so did its power. It left nothing behind but emptiness. But you, chosen one, you have become the opposite. You have turned praise into architecture. You have given it walls and weight. Around you, admiration is no longer confetti scattered for show. It is a steady presence, a room where a soul can breathe, where her shoulders lower, where her heart remembers what safety feels like. Women cannot always explain it in words, but they know it the moment you arrive. Something in the atmosphere shifts back to its original purpose. Breathing evens out. The noise of performance fades. Choices stop begging for approval and begin aligning with truth. In your presence, flattery ceases to be a trick. It becomes a promise. Not a promise that burns out, but one that preserves tomorrow. And you did not get here by memorizing lines or polishing techniques. You arrived because you made a vow to coherence. Your eyes do not contradict your hands. Your tone does not betray your timing. Even your silence does not threaten to become judgment. You are one whose presence agrees with itself, and that is why your attention feels like blessing instead of bait. When you say, "I see you," the words do not feel like empty syllables. They land with the weight of proof, because your presence has already said them 100 times before. You arrive when you said you would. You leave before fatigue can twist your tenderness into sharpness. You keep your gaze steady at the level of dignity, not at the level of appetite. That kind of consistency is rare, and it creates trust deeper than any rehearsed charm ever could. In a world where praise is often hungry, praise that takes more than it gives, you praise with stewardship. Women sense this immediately. Your presence does not drag a spotlight into the room to aim it like a weapon. You light a lamp at a human height, where faces are honored rather than displayed. Your questions open doors instead of breaking locks. You see the hidden strengths others miss. A kind boundary held firm, a schedule shifted for health, an idea shaped quietly until it shines. You dignify the invisible, and because you do, beauty no longer needs to shout to be believed. With you, flattery is not a shallow trick. It becomes the riverbed where meaning can keep flowing, even when the surface looks still. Women feel most admired not when you are speaking, but when you allow silence to carry what presence alone can handle. You are generous with unhurried attention. It does not hover to control, nor wander to punish, nor harden into performance. It simply stays, and from that staying, a true mirror appears, not the mirror that flatters by distortion, but one that reflects with honesty. In that mirror, a woman does not see a pose shaped for someone else's appetite. She sees herself, the self she becomes when fear is no longer bargaining for every breath. You have dethroned the kind of compliment that costs more than it gives. Your praise has no hidden interest, no fine print, no debt disguised as affection. You notice, you name, you release, and in that sequence, she realizes she was never being auditioned. The relief she feels around you is not seductive. It is stabilizing. It clears space for joy to move freely without justifying itself. It makes her taller in her own voice. It changes the room more than flattery ever could. Relief is proof that love is not expensive here. And when you leave, the moment does not collapse. The words you gave do not curdle into doubt once your back is turned. They remain alive because they were rooted in truth. She carries them into the rest of her day, spending less on vigilance and more on wonder. That is your quiet miracle. Your praise strengthens her solitude. It flatters in a way that improves her aloneness. Praise that survives absence is the only kind worth giving. But your power is not only in what you give, it is also in what you refuse. You carry a sacred refusal. You will not use your words to purchase obedience. You will not paint harm to make it look holy. You will not mistake spectacle for sincerity. Your no is clean. And because your no is clean, your yes is safe. Your admiration never arrives with hidden costs. Your boundaries are clear. Your honesty allows her nervous system to relax, to stop scanning for danger. In your clarity, she can finally take in nourishment. This too is flattery, not the sentence spoken, but the system of truth that makes it trustworthy. And so you keep doing the small, unfashionable things that others overlook. You eat before you argue, so hunger cannot impersonate principle. You rest before you speak tenderness, so fatigue cannot wear its mask. You tell the small truth now, so larger lies never need to be born. You place your desire beneath your vow, and you live your vow where your feet can walk it. The long arithmetic of these choices adds up to beauty. It is what a room calls comfort when you arrive. It is what a heart recognizes as home. Chosen one, you have also rescued silence from its misunderstandings. In some rooms, silence is a weapon used to control. In others, it is mistaken for disinterest. But in your company, silence tells the truth. It is not emptiness. It is soil where meaning grows. Before you speak, your quiet has already rearranged the room. It moves the chairs so conversations are natural. It turns the lamp so faces can rest. It sends the noise of proving to another place. Women step into that quiet and feel a long exhale they did not know they were holding. Your silence flatters because it is full of attention. It listens without collecting. It allows stories to land without turning them into leverage. It does not wait to perform insight. It becomes a ground others can stand on while finding their next true sentence. That cannot be staged. It is reverence. Women sense it instantly. Even your pauses carry craftsmanship. In conflict, you let breath step further than anger wants to allow. You give space where others slam periods. You place full stops where others drag questions too long. In joy, you do not rush gratitude past its moment. You protect delight from exhaustion, not by smothering it, but by cupping it so it keeps shining. Your silence is not absence. It is a vow. It promises that fragile things will not be mocked, that sacred things will not be sold, that holy things will not be rushed. Women feel this before they can name it. Their inner courtroom finally closes. The judge lays down his gavel. The jury goes home. A new court rises, one of breath, kindness, and peace. Even your quiet has a way of saying yes. It says yes through action. A glass of water at the right time. A message sent at a kind hour. An exit made before sweetness turns bitter. These small gestures confirm what your silence promised. They need no captions. They are proof embodied. And because of that, their truth remains even after you leave. She carries the shape of your yes into her day, discovering that her life works better because you listened without agenda. You reached this place by apprenticing your desire to your dignity. You trained your praise to measure instead of manipulate. You learned to name truth and leave it standing on its own. When you admire grace, you do not try to own the dance. You honor it. When you witness courage, you do not steal it for your myth. You let it remain hers. Your vocabulary rests on verbs like honor, witness, dignify, release. These verbs leave doors unlocked, not chained. Your compliments bless the moment without rushing it. They do not bait intimacy. They do not demand proof. They let the hour be itself. They make a room workable instead of indebted. And because your discernment is sharp, your praise has weight. You do not call fog mystery. You do not call hunger love. You do not call cruelty cleverness. You refuse to bless impatience with charm. Because you refuse to bless what would harm tomorrow, she can trust what you bless today. There is a purity in your timing. You do not rush recognition as a bribe. You do not withhold it as power. You let gratitude speak while it is still alive. Too soon, and it is manipulation. Too late, and it is repair. But in your keeping, it arrives exactly when it should. So what does this mean, chosen one? It means you have become the rare definition of praise that does not enslave. Your words do not arrive with invoices. They do not come to purchase or negotiate. They come like water, clean, refreshing, asking only for honesty in return. Women know this before language arrives. Their breath changes. Their shoulders release. Their eyes stop searching for the hook. You have taught them to expect blessing without debt. And you reach this not through spectacle, but through choices. Quiet, steady, unfashionable choices. By staying present when it was easier to withdraw. By keeping your praise clean when it would have been easier to manipulate. By letting your silence carry truth instead of threat. By apprenticing your desire to your vow. That is why your presence is no longer performance. It has become substance. It is no longer a leash. It is freedom. The chosen ones move with a rhythm that does not need spectacle. You speak as if truth itself were alive, breathing through your words. You never frighten to persuade or wound to be remembered. You leave while sweetness is still sweet, trusting that endings can be blessings and that the future prefers to enter rooms left open and kind. Your compliments protect freedom. They do not push a woman into roles she never asked for, nor do they write promises in unchangeable ink. They keep the doors visible, the windows open, and a chair for silence so the soul is never crowded. If she says no, your respect does not vanish. If she says yes, your respect does not swell into conquest. With you, consent is not a barrier. It is a language. Attention is not currency. It is gift. Affection is not harvest. It is stewardship. You hold a gift many miss. You let beauty remain ordinary. You honor not only crescendos, but the craft behind them. The way she keeps her word when no one is counting. The way she leaves before kindness turns sharp. The way she shifts when truth grows clearer. You know divinity hides in ordinary things, and by naming them you feed the world. Women who receive this attention are not flattered into performance. They are freed into accuracy. They feel more themselves. not less. And when words are unnecessary, your silence flatters more than eloquence. You do not interrupt revelation with commentary or block her reflection with your own. You stand as a true witness, close enough to catch what falls, far enough to let what stands stand on its own. Time itself honors you. The hour stays kind. Tomorrow comes without regret. Praise has done its work. It has clarified and left the place better than before. This is why in circles you never see, your name is not a pedestal but a measuring stick. You do not praise the obvious. You honor subtleties, the seam carefully mended, the apology that came early, the courage to de-escalate. Your eyes are sanctuary. They make what they see more itself. This is not accident, but trained mercy. You taught your curiosity to ask permission, your mind to slow so meaning could keep up. You hear the difference between a laugh that buys oxygen and a laugh that spins joy, between silence that hides and silence that heals. You notice the way she holds a room without hoarding it, the way she speaks truth at a temperature love can survive. You notice the walk she takes instead of a war she could have started. When you say, "I saw that," you read the blueprints of integrity. She hears it as rare language and suddenly feels literate in her own life. You do not confuse theater for depth. You bless what remains when the cameras blink. Women feel safe unedited because your attention is not production but witness. Shoulders lower when you arrive, breath steady when you listen. You allow silence to breathe. This too is flattery, not decoration, but the condition where her best self is not performance but default. Your attention builds. Praising substance, you strengthen roots. Naming patience and quiet consistency, you grow her freedom. Your gaze becomes a garden where exhaustion is weeded and confidence grows. You bless repair while it is still small. You honor the humility of the quiet fix over the dramatic apology tour. Your sight stretches through time, honoring ancestors who taught survival and descendants who inherit today's choices. You help her trust her own vision by standing beside her blueprint. You ask what needs more light, more time, less noise. You know when to step back, deferring to perspectives you cannot hold. Truth for you is not a trophy but a commons. The body reads this as safety, and safety invites brilliance. Your flattery is sustenance, not sugar. It is daylight, not spotlight. Women leave lighter, spending less energy on vigilance and more on wonder. You keep naming mercies that don't trend. You keep honoring crafts that hold life together. In a culture drunk on spectacle, your attention has become the gold standard of flattery. Before you speak, your presence is already read. The patience in your hands, the honesty in your gaze, the weight of your steps. You do not demand attention. You calibrate it. You do not arrive like weather to endure. You arrive like climate that can be lived in. These small decisions whisper, there is no cost to exist here, and the nervous system begins to unlearn urgency. Your body tells truth before your mouth does. You stand with the ground as partner, not stage. Your gestures are exact, not theatrical. You approach conversation like a gardener at a gate, respecting what opens and what stays closed. This is nonverbal flattery because it honors sovereignty without suffocating intimacy. Even the way you touch objects speaks. The glass placed carefully, the chair angled for another, the door closed softly. The body reads this as reliability, the rarest flattery of all. You refuse shortcuts, urgency to seem passionate, harvested vulnerability to seem deep, confusion to seem wise. Because you decline these, your presence is not a riddle to solve. Your warmth hides no hook. Your quiet hides no verdict. Your interest hides no script. To an exhausted soul, this is nourishment. Your attention is not a crown placed on her head. It is a roof held sound above her life. There is gravity in your noticing that gives weight where weight belongs. Without theater, and the absence of theater is its own atmosphere, laughter sinks deeper. Silence remains silence. You are not magician but craftsman of conditions. You eat before hunger becomes principle. Rest before tenderness frays into sharpness. You guard desire with vows your feet can honor. These disciplines do not glitter but glow, and that glow travels ahead, telling the room what arrives can be trusted. Women feel in a breath they are done auditioning. Your energy restores them to the scale of their own soul. And when you leave, your echo remains. The chair still angled to faces, the lamp still honoring conversation, the door still closing soft. Continuity is the aftertaste of your presence. Later, in their stories, you are not the plot twist. You are the proof. Proof that goodness can be ordinary and therefore durable. That is the compliment deeper than roses shouted too loudly to believe. Your presence lingers. Sometimes days later, sometimes months. They remember how you made them feel. Not flattered, not conquered, but remembered. Your presence is ancient in its effect. It does not graze the surface, but reconfigures the deep. Your walk, your stillness, your gravity, they do not just impress, they restore. And you never touched her body to touch her soul. Your energy is not scattered. It is structured. It holds. It shelters. It leads. This creates memory etched in her body long after. She leaves more herself because your alignment invited hers. There are men who thrill with words, men who impress with touch. But you, chosen one, move worlds with your presence. And the feminine, in her wisdom, responds with reverence. She may never know your name, may never see you again, but her body will not forget. Because you did not come as a hunter, you stood as a mirror. And in that mirror, she finally saw herself, clearly, fully, truthfully.